Hello, beautiful souls. On this week's episode of the podcast, I'm sharing a session from the Beautiful Souls community. Every morning at 7:30 a.m. Central Standard Time, we gather and connect to our hearts. And there's a new teaching every day, or new theme. And in today's theme, it is the 5 awarenesses. Remembering to look beyond ourselves in this world of hyper-individuation, hyper-individualism. And remember our interconnectedness. Remember that we are standing on the shoulders of our ancestors, just as the future generations will stand on our shoulders. So may we live in a way that would make them proud. Enjoy today's episode. How are your hearts this morning? And what ancestor are you most grateful for, and why? Yes, happy MLK Day. My grandmother, because she helped me connect with my love and my heart through cacao. My aunt, who did everything outside the norm of expectation. For MLK, for bringing hope for the change of hearts. Indeed. Definitely Martin Luther King today. And all of my ancestors. But the person who comes to mind most loudly this morning is my great-grandfather, who I never met, Cyprian. And it's because at the beginning of my divorce in 2020, I was feeling like an outcast in my family for several reasons. And then I discovered this ancestor as I was looking through my family tree, Cyprian Bars. And my mom always told me, I reminded her of her grandfather, because he would walk all the time. He'd have them walking all across New Orleans, like 10 miles a day, because he enjoyed it. But also he had a similar journey. He was also gotten divorced around the same age, and then moved and rebuilt his life. And so I found deep connection and appreciation and connection to my family in that way. And it was really beautiful. And thank you for sharing. It's beautiful to witness pieces and parts of your journey as well, and your family. I have a longer reading today, so I don't have as much time to get into all of your stories. But thank you. And on this day, I feel like it's a good time to connect to our the broader view. In this practice, we usually are very singular as we go inward. And I'm often reading from Thich Nhat Hanh. And this day, Martin Luther King Day, is reminding me that Thich Nhat Hanh was also a mentor for Martin Luther King, guiding him towards the precepts of mindfulness and peace, and speaking your voice without responding in violence, but acting from a place of grounded love. And later Martin Luther King nominated him for the Nobel Peace Prize, which I believe he received. So it's a beautiful honoring of the same freedom that I now get to experience as a black man in this country. Was ignited by a Vietnamese gentleman who didn't know my struggle but had his own, and decided to make it his business to help. And so the teaching I want to share today is called the 5 awarenesses. And I've noticed that in many of these little pamphlet books I have from Thich Nhat Hanh, they all end with this teaching. Most of them end with this teaching. And that's because in a way it's the most valuable. And you'll find out why here in a moment. The 5 awarenesses allows you to practice mindfulness with someone you love. Reciting these awarenesses together can help strengthen your support for each other in difficult times. They can be a wonderful part of a wedding ceremony, but they can also be used in any relationship where you want to support each other in the practice. The 5 awarenesses can help any loving relationship become stronger and longer lasting. 1. We are aware that all generations of our ancestors and all future generations are present in us. 2. We are aware of the expectations that our ancestors, our children, and their children have of us. And if you're not a parent like myself, think of those who you are a mentor to, or your nieces or nephews. 3. We are aware that our joy, peace, freedom, and harmony are the joy, peace, freedom, and harmony of our ancestors, our children, and their children. 4. We are aware that understanding is the foundation of love. 5. We are aware that blaming and arguing never help us and only create a wider gap between us. Only understanding, trust, and love can help us change and grow. In the first awareness, we see ourselves as one element in the continuation of our ancestors and as the link to future generations. When we see in this way, we know that by taking good care of our body and consciousness in the present moment, we are taking care of all generations, past and future. The second awareness reminds us that our ancestors have expectations of us and that our children and their children do too. Our happiness is their happiness. Our suffering is their suffering. If we look deeply, we will know what our children and grandchildren expect of us. The third awareness tells us that joy, peace, freedom, and harmony are not individual matters. We have to live in ways that allow our ancestors within to be liberated, so as to liberate ourselves. If we do not liberate them, we ourselves will be bound all our lives, and we will transmit that to our children and grandchildren. Now is the time to liberate our parents and ancestors within. We can offer them joy, peace, freedom, and harmony at the same time as we offer joy, peace, freedom, and harmony to ourselves and our children and their children. This reflects the teaching of interbeing. As long as our ancestors within are still suffering, we cannot really be happy. If we take one step mindfully, freely, and happily, touching the earth, we do it for all our ancestors and all future generations. The fourth awareness tells us that where there is understanding, there is love. When we understand someone's suffering, we're motivated to help, and the energies of love and compassion are released. Whatever we do in this spirit will be for the happiness and liberation of the person we love. We have to practice in such a way that whatever we do for others will make them happy. The willingness to love is not enough. When people do not understand each other, it is impossible for them to love each other. Remember to practice in the context of a community. Do whatever you can to bring happiness to the air, the water, the rocks, the trees, the birds, and the humans. Live your daily life in such a way as to feel the presence of the community with you all the time, and you will receive the kind of energy you need each time you confront difficulties in your life and the life of the world. The world needs you to be mindful, to be aware of what is going on. We have to live deeply each moment that is given us to live. If you are capable of living deeply one moment of your life, you can learn to live the same way all the other moments of your life. The French poet René Char said, "If you can dwell in one moment, you will discover eternity." Make each moment an occasion to live deeply, happily, in peace. Each moment is a chance for us to make peace with the world, to make peace possible for the world, to make happiness possible for the world. The world needs our happiness. The practice of mindful living can be described as the practice of happiness, the practice of love. We must cultivate in our lives the capacity to be happy, the capacity to be loving. Understanding is the foundation of love, and looking deeply is the basic practice. We practice the fifth awareness because even though we know that blaming and arguing never help, we forget. Conscious breathing helps us develop the ability to stop at that crucial moment, to help ourselves from blaming and arguing. All of us need to change for the better. It is our responsibility to take care of each other. We are the gardeners, the ones who help the flowers grow. If we understand, the flowers will grow beautifully. Goodwill is not enough. We need to learn the art of making others happy. Art is the essence of life, and the substance of art is mindfulness. What a potent teaching. I don't have much to add to that, so we'll get right into the practice. And today we will be contemplating the 5 awarenesses to get us out of this me versus you mentality and to shift our worldview so that when we see another suffer, we immediately realize that it is to our suffering and that we can show up in a myriad of ways to create more understanding, harmony, peace, and joy. Allow your eyes to gently close. Receiving a deep breath in, settle into your body. And as you exhale, settle your body into your seat. Receiving another breath. Remember that this body is not only yours, it is your ancestors. For you share their eyes, their nose, their smile, their features and mannerisms. Just as your children and their children will share yours. Exhaling and remembering we are one. Another low belly breath in. And allow this breath to lengthen your spine. Envision the thread of love pulling the crown of your head upward, and the force of gravity anchoring your tailbone to the earth. Exhaling into a posture of dignity and peace. One more low belly breath in. And surrender. Surrender all illusions of separation. Ideas of me versus them. Fear, aversion, resistance, judgment, arrogance and debasement. Exhaling and arriving right here and now in the present moment. Continuing now to breathe at your own pace. Sit back in the seat of your awareness. Connect to your natural way of breathing and the body's natural way of being. Witness this connection to not only your ancestors and the generations that will follow you, but also the earth, the breath, the food you eat that sustains your body, the materials that were used to make your cozy home. Rest here for the next 2 minutes, present to that unison. Now present to our unified existence. We will contemplate the 5 awarenesses. So simply repeat the following after me. Then contemplate each line for a few breaths. Then we'll move on to the next. The first one. I am aware that all generations of my ancestors and all future generations are present in me. Number 2, I am aware of the expectations that my ancestors, my children, and their children have of me. Number 3, I am aware that my joy, peace, freedom, and harmony are the joy, peace, freedom, and harmony of my ancestors, my children, and their children. Number 4, I am aware that understanding is the foundation of love. Number 5, I am aware that blaming and arguing never help and only create a wider gap between us. Only understanding, trust, and love can help us change and grow. And now holding these 5 awarenesses in contemplation, let us set the intention to remember it's not all about me. This life is about we. Let us set the intention to remember that the suffering of each one is also my suffering, just as my suffering is theirs. And in this remembering, let us set the intention to expand daily, mindfully, in understanding, patience, trust, and love. To honor that intention, let us close this practice with a bit of metta, loving kindness. Breathing into your heart space, allow pure loving kindness to arise. Feel its comfort and warmth, freedom from separation or limitation. Its acceptance and understanding, its grounding nature. And with a conscious breath, feel it effortlessly expand into all that you are beyond the heart, into your body, into your aura, your personal bubble. Now beyond you is radiant, loving light, an expression of our interconnectedness, our interbeing. And now thinking of all those who are suffering, those experiencing genocide, poverty, famine, war, illness, and great adversity. And repeat the following phrases after me. May all beings be free of suffering and the root of all suffering. And may all beings know happiness and the root of all happiness. Spend the last minute of the practice right here, resting in that intention for all, remembering we are one. We are whole. We are loved. We are love. We are peace. the love, light, and truth within me honors the love, light, and truth within you. Namaste.